Thank you for listening to another one of my open journal philosophies. A question that comes to mind is in regards to users and opportunists. And I want to touch base on this because this is a very delicate topic. When the question was brought to me, all I could think of was all I could think of was the last tape I did in regards to love. I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna correlate that with users and opportunists. Okay, I'm gonna just start by saying that the difference between a user and an opportunist is very slim, but there is a slight difference. An opportunist already has a programmed agenda. A user is someone who blindly, or should I say, I don't want to say subconscious because that's going to seem like program. But you can tell the difference between a user and an opportunist. An opportunist will use you to get to where they're going, or what they have a higher agenda, desire for, something that's great, because it's an opportunity. An opportunity is a situation where something arises and there's a great benefit to it. It doesn't necessarily have to involve money. But a user is someone who is actually lazy in the way they want to obtain what it is they desire. An opportunist isn't necessarily lazy, but they have such ambition, whereas they will take full advantage of an opportunity if you provide it. There was a situation that happened once in my life, well, more in my life, but this one stood out to me, where I shared some information to a person who I believe to be ungrateful. Anyway, so by me giving that person the benefit of the doubt due to time and maturity, I disclosed some information to them about me and, certain things that I had in regards to what my success pertained to. And I had just got finished giving a speech on how it's better for people to not know anything about you and to talk a lot of flack about you, whereas if they knew certain things about you, they can use them against you. With the user, a user would try to use you with you doing the performing, meaning this person who is labeled as a user would pretty much so want you to do everything because they're using you, not just what you have. An opportunist is a person that will use you to get something equivalent to what you have, or to just get what you have, not necessarily you. So one would be a slave, the other would be a pawn. A user, you would become a slave. To an opportunist, you would become a pawn. And that's the difference between the two, because in the world of business, I see it quite often. I can definitely, like I said, it's a very slim difference, but there is a difference, and you can tell the two apart because one's more successful than the other. And usually the opportunist is more successful than the user. But if the user has bagged such a good prize of a slave, then the user can actually be more successful than the opportunist. But usually the one who has the most ambition and makes a way for themselves um, lasts longer. But back to my story, I shared that information, and that person who already has a reputation of being ungrateful, like I said in my last tape, it's like telling a wolf you're a sheep. Because, and I learned from that situation, because if they did it before, they'll do it again. It's just time is playing a factor in how soon they do it. That's the only thing. And so this person isn't necessarily a user, but they try to take that knowledge that they learned about me as an opportunity to try to persuade me about how to utilize what I do so that it can benefit them. And that's a very important thing to catch on to when these things happen in your life. Because sometimes, if not most times, they tend to be the ones that are very close to you, because they feel they have that rapport with you where they can say and do things and it's okay. So when you share certain information with them, some people just come right out and try to utilize that time to make an opportunity out of the knowledge that you provided. Whereas some people would wait because they realize if they say something, then it makes it seem like, they're trying to take advantage of it. But whether they do it right then and there at that moment, 5 minutes later, a day later, 72 hours later, doesn't matter. They're doing it for the chance to take advantage of that opportunity you provided. So I say all this to say you have to be careful who you share certain information to, because, and you hear it all the time, be careful who you disclose certain information to. The thing is, you always have to be careful, because if you have a high value for family and friends and they're the ones that's doing it, you already know it's nothing for a total stranger to do it. But when someone you hold dear does it, it makes it that much more harder, emotionally and mentally, for you to have an open trust with people who you hold on a certain level of respect. So keep that in mind, the difference between a user and an opportunist, and make sure that whatever information you have, study the person first, if you have not already, whether it's a friend, family member, a foe, an associate, it doesn't matter. Always study who it is you disclose information to before you disclose the information. Because, like I said before my last tape, when you're dealing with people like that, especially users and opportunists, just like an ungrateful person, when you disclose certain information to them, when you constantly help them, when you constantly enable, and I'm going to talk about enabling in future tapes, but when you constantly enable, it's basically like letting a wolf know you're a sheep. You're just tidying yourself up. You wrap yourself up. You put the little apple in your mouth. You tie yourself up and you lay yourself right at the opening of a wolf's den so they can feed on you as soon as they wake up. So think about that. Thank you for listening, and have a blessed day.